roll call, please.
Council President Singh,
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman,
Here.
Councilperson Stahl,
Here.
Councilperson Fisher,
Here.
Councilperson Price,
Here.
Councilperson Lintner,
Here.
Councilperson Burgard, Mayor Lutz.
Here.
All right. Would anybody care to offer invocation? Please rise.
Please hold me in prayer. Gracious and almighty God, it's a time of year that we tend to wrap things up, literally and figuratively. Give us a sense of harmony, Lord, tonight. Not everybody knows, in fact, many people don't know how hard it is to run a town, to make it safe, to improve it, to take care of all the citizens. Lord, our prayer tonight is that you would empower this council here at the end of the year to do that very work, to lift all their needs up to you before they even speak them, Lord, because you know in your heart what's in their heart. Give them power to govern, civility, grace, courage, and imagination, and love. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Councilperson Fisher, would you like to lead us in a pledge?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive and information sessions, there were none. Are there any additions, deletions, or reorganization of the agenda needed? I'm not aware of anything. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the agenda as published. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Citizen comment, non-agenda items only. The first sign up we have, is it Shane? I'm assuming off-premise signs, so that's during an agenda item, so you can talk during that one, okay?
Okay.
And then the sign up we have is Frank Doucher.
Evening, folks. Frank Doucher, 1001 Abbeville Pike. I'm going to ask for the third time what our fund balance reserve might be.
Did Tammy didn't get back to you yet?
Nobody get back to me.
Okay, well, Tammy will get back to you. She has it on her list to talk to you.
My understanding, I talked to a previous borough manager, he said it's in the budget. He said
It's in our audit. If you in the audit report, it lists all the fund balances.
but it's not on your computer in your.
I don't have it right with me right now, no, but we'll get it to you.
Yeah.
I apologize. Tammy knew to get it to you, so, but she's been out.
The other issue is, people here come in and ask about the clock. It's, I think they said it's 5 minutes off. I think we need to get our time machine fixed too, that we used to have. I don't know why. Can you tell me why we don't use that all the time?
I forgot to get it out, and I just forgot to get it out.
And I asked before about the market house. What kind of revenue are we taking in? We have no idea on any kind of money that we're taking in on that market house.
It's in the monthly
It's in the monthly.
finance reports.
Yeah, it's in every month, Frank. It's
Every
in the
month it's
finance
in there.
report. You see the revenues collected
You
and
have
the
a
expenses.
total that we're taking in monthly.
Yeah, it's in the revenue section of the
Okay.
finance, and then the expenses are in that section of the expense report.
Okay, well, that's why I'm not sitting up there. You know how to read that thing more than I do. I lost my train of thought on that. My last question is Chestnut Street. Why do we let the utilities let that sit till next year? What was the reason? From
They
5th
were-
to 6th.
They were working there, and then they would get to a spot where they'll patch it come spring. It's the way they work. Jake, I was gonna jump
Yeah,
in.
just because where they ended up, at the time of the year to try to get that paved in decent weather, so you get a good job.
So they're gonna work on it in January, February.
No, they've got the base work, trench restoration done, they'll come back in the spring and mill it and, overlay.
I know, I use Chestnut Street a lot, and before they just, I don't know if they milled it, I don't know what they did, but before that, I was down to 6 miles an hour from down that darn street. Now, I complained about the state road that they did in 462, and the same way there, that's just uncalled for. I don't know why you have to put up with something like that. So they did repave it, now I'm down to 10 miles an hour, I'm up to 10 miles an hour, so, and I know you're not supposed to speed, but, I mean, that's a little ridiculous. It just seemed out of the way. Did anyone try to get the gas company to raise their main or to lower their main so they could take that crown out of that street?
I don't think we discussed that, did we, Derek?
It would have been a good thing to do, you know, to get that's the worst street in town, especially as far as the crown. Now, I don't know if they're gonna take the whole street or they're just gonna do part of it, but
They're gonna do the affected lane, that's in, I think it's 11.5 foot lane down through there that trench is in. So it'd be from the center of the road over to the parking edge, basically.
yeah. It's still end up at the crown probably.
Well, the crown, it's gonna stay where it's at, because they're gonna take 1.5 inches off and put 1.5 inches back on, so it's gonna be pretty much stay where it was.
Doesn't really help the people, especially people living there. Okay.
Alright, I see we had some people come in after the sign-up sheet was taken. Is there anyone else that wanted to, speak on non-agenda items? No? Alright, we have some minutes for approval. Could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for November 28th, 2023?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for November 28th. Are there any questions or comments on those minutes? None? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for November 28th, 2023. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council work session minutes for December 5th, 2023? I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the Borough Council work session minutes for December 5th, 2023. Are there any questions or comments on these? None. I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the Borough Council work session minutes for December 5th, 2023. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Presentation and acceptance of reports. First, we have community development.
I'd like to acknowledge receipt of the planning and zoning reports for November 2023, as well as acknowledge the receipt from the Market House report for November 2023.
And public works and property.
Yes, I'd like to acknowledge the Public Works and Property Report for November 2023. Just point out that tentatively the last day of street sweeping will be this Friday, December 15th, but subject to change due to weather. Is any update on that?
No, we're gonna go through till Friday, and that'll be it.
Right.
And the Christmas lights look great.
Yes. And now that Jake is here, publicly acknowledge Jake for the leaf cleanup, the letter that we read last week.
Yep, he was here.
So, oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. All right, well, thanking you again. And safety and marketing, Councilperson Brigard is not here, so Councilperson Fisher, can you please acknowledge these?
I'd like to acknowledge the receipt of the public safety reports for November 2023, Columbia Borough Police Department and Columbia Borough Fire Department for October and November. And acknowledge the receipt of the EMOC report for November 2023, and acknowledge receipt of the code compliance report and condemnation report for November 2023.
Any questions on those? I would like to note for all council, the Penn State Lifeline report will be forthcoming. There was some turnover there, and they're working to streamline their reporting for all municipalities, so it makes it easier for their workflow, so that will be forthcoming. I anticipate to have that for the January meeting. Presentations, we don't have any. Mayor Lutz, Chief Brommer.
First thing, I was up at Laurel Hill Cemetery tonight for a memorial service, where they had a memorial service for those Columbia area residents, I'll say, passed away this past year. It was 70 people who were returned up there this year. It was nice to see what Laurel Hill is doing for the folks. I thought it was a great service. This is the second year they've done it, and I really appreciated what they've been doing. And I think the folks really appreciate it. Even though it was a little cold, they appreciated it. They planted a tree, a pine tree, and they had it all decorated. It was beautiful. And every family involved got to put ornaments on it. I missed a couple meetings. I think I missed one or maybe two. Had I been at those meetings, I surely would have had comment. Since I wasn't at those meetings, I'm going to make some comments tonight. There was accusations made at a council meeting of Sunshine Act violations. And they started out with one and ended up, I think, with 3 Sunshine Act violations. Now, the people, a lot of these regulations are new, or relatively new. And a lot of the folks on our boards and commissions, they're regular folks like you and I. They're not professionals in local government. So sometimes they're unaware of what needs to happen or what they need to do. And some agendas were missed being published. In the same vein, there are folks who routinely look at the borough's website and read the agendas. And some folks come down here and pick agendas up. It's incumbent upon all residents of Columbia Borough that when you see something like that missing, to speak up. It shouldn't have gone to 1, 2, 3, or maybe even more missing agendas before it was brought here to council. And I just feel as though it was an intention just to down or belittle Columbia Borough. And I'm a little tired of people trying to downplay and belittle this borough when so many people are working so hard to make this a decent place to live and a place where people want to set up businesses and want to move into homes. To me, that was totally wrong. It should not have been. That's a responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, of every resident in this borough. And you can shake your head, but let me say, your husband's the one who did it. And I'll say, if it wasn't December 12th, I'd ask for your resignation. And that was the reason for that is duties of mayor to exact faithful performance of the duties of the officers appointed to perform any of the duties this municipality. You didn't do it.
I did. I went to Mark in his office and told him the hard meeting was not posted. It was already 2 hours before the meeting began. Don't twist it
Around the meeting. Karen, there was
Twist
3
it
of them.
around.
There was 3 instances. You didn't make any of them.
Make this our
Thank God it's
fault.
December 12th.
Thank God it is. But you can ask for my resignation all you want. I have one more meeting to go after this.
Like I said, thank God it's December 12th. But it's incumbent upon
Don't
everybody
turn it around and
sitting
make
here
it our fault.
bring it
Your
up.
mistakes are not our
These are
fault.
my mistake.
Well, the borough's
Like
mistakes.
I said,
We have a
people are
duty.
human and they make mistakes and sometimes they're unaware.
We also have a duty to turn in sunshine violations when they're repeated. That was the second time in 2 weeks.
You didn't turn it in.
No, I did not. But we as a people have a duty to watch what's going on
And
here.
duty to call the newspaper. Yes, thank you.
All right. Anything else, Mayor?
No.
I do, just one thing. Our free parking Saturday signs were in very poor condition.
Oh, okay.
So staff today spent some time replacing those.
Oh, good.
There was basically a lesser laminate that was acquired, trying to save some money. Thank you to the Merchants Association, they continue to step up to shoulder that cost. So most of the signs were replaced, they look a lot better. That's all.
Thank you. And I think I noticed that there is a lot of filled streets
Yes.
downtown on the weekends, so that's good. Always like to see people walking around.
Nice, Chief.
Yes.
Chief, how are you making out with your, not audits, can't think of the word. Accreditation, yes.
You know what? Thank you. I remember that and then I forget.
Accreditation is going well. It is still a lot of work to be done. I can assure you that both Officer Kaiser and I are spending a lot of time on policies and working with our consultants.
Yes.
We're over halfway with the policies at this point in time. December's been a little slow, I'll be honest, with some other, with vacations
Holidays, yeah.
and holidays and other responsibilities, but we will certainly focus on it in January, and as far as I can tell at this point, we should receive our accreditation this summer.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the chief? All right. At this time, at 7:19 p.m., we are going to close the regular meeting. And at 7:19 p.m., we are going to enter the public hearing to review ordinance 948 of 2023, amending chapter 220 zoning, section 220-56, off-premise signs. Evan, take over the hearing.
All right. So, if there is anyone here who would like to speak regarding this issue, you can go ahead and come up to the podium. I think Heather will probably recognize you, but if there's anyone who would like to speak, this was discussed probably early November, I guess. We discussed this amendment, possible amendment to the zoning ordinance. So at that time, I think there was quite a bit of discussion and some insight from the people who would like to have this rezoned. So if you'd like to come up, if anyone would like to speak, I think Mary has her hand up.
Yeah, I see Mary's hand in the back.
Frank's always here ahead of me. Okay, Mary Wickenheiser, Chair, Columbia Borough Planning Commission. This ordinance was first presented to the Borough Planning Commission at our August 15th meeting. We had quite the presentation at that time by the requester, and at that time we tabled any action on this ordinance. We made no recommendation, we tabled. At that time, we were waiting for council to accept, approve our comprehensive plan because we felt there were elements of this request that were reflected and supported by our comprehensive plan. We were also waiting for any comments back from Lancaster County Planning Commission. So on August 15th, we tabled this to our October 17th meeting, figuring all of that would be done in September. At our October meeting, we got a little more in-depth into it. I actually contacted Chief Brommer and got some information on any types of accidents out in that area where this zoning is proposed to happen. What we are looking at here is the zoning. And one of the things that came out of this was there was reference to traffic studies that were done, Don't Laugh Australia, that supported such types of zoning. Also one that was done in Reading that supported this type of zoning for highway commercial signage, limited access. And this would only affect an area within the borough, roughly from right off of Front Street out to about 9th Street. And the way this is written, it is very a condensed area where even one of these type of signs could be permitted. What we're doing here tonight is asking for the zoning. If the zoning is approved, which I count the Planning Commission did recommend approval of it, there would still be a permitting process that anyone would have to go through to be able to place signage out there. I think we were also told they would have to go through some PennDOT approvals. So what you are looking at here tonight is simply a zoning amendment, a zoning change. One of the things we did do was they were asking that there was an ask for a 7-second interval on any type of digital change, and that in the final version has been increased to 10 seconds, which appears to be more the industry standard for any type of digital sign that might be applied for and permitted under this. Are there any questions, comments I can address? I feel I presented the Planning Commission's position on this, that we would recommend council adopt this zoning amendment. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else? Yes, Frank?
After the smoke clears here, I'm not fully up on this, but tell me why this change was made.
Well,
Maybe.
the change wasn't made yet. We're
No.
having the hearing
But
to make the change. It was proposed to allow a larger sign than what is currently there to be placed in that area
and what's the reason for that?
for
Because-
advertisement.
Yes, but if it was like this all them years, why is this being done now?
Right, this was a petition brought forward by the property owner and applicant. This wasn't something that the borough initiated. The applicant brought this forward to us.
All right, okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns from the audience? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the board? Yes.
Is there anybody here representing?
Yes.
Okay, a couple questions that I have. First of all, the version I have here still has 7 seconds. Good. Okay, then this is near it all. How many, I drove that corridor yesterday, about 1.8 miles, the whole, from the river to the end of the borough. Was there any study done of how many of these signs could be placed along that cartway?
Claudia Shank on behalf of the applicant in this matter.
So
So we did take a look at that. There are PennDOT regulations that we have to follow as well, which require a 500-foot minimum separation distance between signs. So we believe that this, if a sign was placed on the Linden Street property, we think that would be the only additional location in the borough where that
The
would
only
occur.
additional location. Okay. Now, did you take a picture or did you look at, Columbia was blessed by PennDOT when they built Route 30 to put a westbound entrance and exit in the same lane under a bridge. Did you look at, when that sign's placed, are you going to be able to see that sign before you get under that overpass and you're going past the exit? That you all of a sudden, you see this sign and you got to try to yank off?
I may ask Devin Wagner from Oak Tree to come up and address that, because that is something.
Yeah, what's the sight distance on that?
I need to understand what you're saying.
If you're traveling westbound on Route 30, okay, or eastbound, I'm sorry, eastbound on Route 30, where can you finally see that sign?
Just
As you
under the
project.
overpass. That was what was presented.
Just under the overpass, and that's the exit right there.
Yes.
So you have virtually doing 55 mile an hour, no time to see that sign and get off.
Actually, if I recall correctly, the exit or directing people to exit is prior to the underpass. I think once you're through the underpass and there's already the exit, the lane there, and then you're able to see a portion of the sign, but the ideal viewing distance of the sign is basically between 400 to 500 feet, if I recall.
But that's what I'm saying, 400 to 500 feet, can you see the sign because of the overpass?
Yes, from 400 to 500 feet, you can see the sign and approaching the sign. That's basically the viewing distance of your approach to the sign.
I have difficulty, as much as I support economic development in this community, I have difficulty having a sign of that type in that location because of the eastbound entrance and exit. There, it's a high traffic area. It's a dangerous area. I dread going through there because the way they put that exit and entrance to me is like no man's land there. It's scary to me. And then to put a sign there that's going to attract people's attention, I have a problem with that. And the other part of that is, as you testified, that may be the only sign under these proposed regulations that would be permitted. To me, that's spot zoning. And so I got to tell you, I'm not in favor of this. Thank you.
Can you explain spot zoning?
Spot zoning is where you zone for a specific business or reason one time, or very, very few.
Yeah. I would say in this situation, while it could only affect maybe one property there, it falls along the entire borough's border, if I remember correctly, of Route 30. So it's not just that property. It doesn't prevent, if someone else was able to, it doesn't necessarily prevent them as long as it's far enough away and it meets those regulations. It's kind of one of those, the early comers here are going to be the ones that benefit the most, but once they're up, they're going to be up, and those regulations are not necessarily off.
This came up about 30 years ago, and the residents along that corridor came and testified that they didn't want to see signs along that corridor because of the lights and everything else involved shining into their homes. And the borough chose not to change those regulations at that time. And now we want to change them again. And like I said, I'm not in favor of it. I understand economic development. I support it 100%, but I need to look out for everybody.
So, I believe the 500-foot distance, there's already other signs out there.
They were grandfathered in and they're 500 feet apart.
Right.
A little more.
What I'm saying is this zoning becomes a spot zone per se, according to you, but there's other signs out there that could switch.
That's,
to the zone.
and that's correct. They could be removed and replaced. I'm
Correct.
saying
So,
things currently
This
stand.
isn't the only
yeah.
sign of this type that can be in that area. It's just the way the state permits.
There are areas past 9th Street where this can happen, possibly, but the testimony says one.
That's a different zoning district there, Mayor, that's the difference. This is how the commercial stops
Yeah.
about, I'll misquote it, but it's not far from where the sign is from Fifth Street. It's about where the commercial district ends, the rest is residential parallel 30, so you can't extend any further.
Okay, right, you're right,
East
right.
of that, yeah.
And secondly, I would say, I'm not familiar with the old sign where the neighbors complained, but I would assume it was the old static signs where the lights illuminated the billboard. The lights will be directed out towards the highway, not a big illumination area.
The big case was the school district wanted to put a sign at the bottom of the hill. And most of the residents there on 9th and Ironville Pike weren't in favor of that sign being there.
Could I ask about I know we already have a digital type sign there, electronic.
Correct.
But of course, I understand the size difference. But would that be the only reason? We already have one there. This would just be larger and...
Right, that sign would be removed and replaced with a larger sign.
That could accommodate advertising. So really that sign is not capable of accommodating the kind of advertising you typically have along a limited access highway. I think it's just, text.
It's more of an information.
Correct.
But that will go away, that
Yes.
sign will, okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns or to go on record? No? All right, then at 7:33 PM, we're going to close the public hearing. At 7:33 PM, we are going to re-enter the regular Borough Council meeting. The first item that we have is to consider this ordinance 948 of 2023, amending chapter 220 zoning, section 220-56, off-premise signs. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt ordinance 948 of 2023. Questions, comments, concerns on the ordinance outside over here? Anyone? All right, Deb, this is going to be a roll call since it's an ordinance.
Councilperson Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilperson Stahl,
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher,
Yes.
Councilperson Price,
Yes.
Councilperson Littner,
Yes.
Council President Zay.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for bearing with us on this long journey. This month's long journey. All right, the next we have Resolution 2023-33, setting the millage rate for 2024 at 8 mils. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt resolution 2023-33, setting the millage rate for 2024 at 8 mils. I will note that we do not have the budget on here, but we are able to enact the millage if we're reasonably certain we're not gonna change that nothing's gonna change. We will adopt the budget at the end of the month. There was just a advertising snafu, so
This is the same as it is currently, so no change.
Right. Yeah, if there was a change, we would have to do it by ordinance, but since it's the same, we can do it by resolution. That was a recent change in the borough code. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? We have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt Resolution 2023-33, setting the millage rate for 2024 at 8 mills. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. This next thing, the next item is the raises for the non-uniform, basically the management staff, the employees not covered by a union contract. The one difference we have is for the chief of police, number one, he is actually covered by the contract, addressed in the contract, and his raise is 5%, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're gonna do is we'll go down through, we have to have a motion, second, and a vote on each one. Before we go through these rapid fire, are there any questions, comments, or concerns on any of these? Yes, Frank?
Just to clarify, in the budget, there was a 3% across the board, am I correct? So now you want to up it 2%?
No, Jack's was in there as 5.
Okay.
The
rest will stay 3.
The rest will stay 3, but Jack's is 5 because that was what was in, that's what's in the police union contract.
And it's correct in the budget, so they won't affect the budget numbers.
Okay.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the salary increase for the chief of police, to approve a 5% salary increase for the chief of police for 2024? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the 5% salary increase for the chief of police for 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve the 3% salary increase for the borough manager for 2024?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the 3% salary increase for the borough manager for 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve the 3% salary increase for the finance manager for 2024?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the 3% salary increase for the finance manager for 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve a 3% salary increase for the market house manager for 2024?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Price, to approve 3% salary increase for the market house manager for 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve a 3% salary increase for the property manager for 2024?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the 3% salary increase for the property manager for 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve a 3% salary increase for the codes manager for 2024?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the 3% salary increase for the codes manager for 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? And, could I have a motion to approve a 3% salary increase for the the full-time property inspector, for 2024? A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the 3% salary increase for the full-time property inspector for 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? And finally, could I have a motion to approve a 3% salary increase for the public works manager for 2024? A motion by Councilperson Stahl, second by Councilperson Price, to approve 3% salary increase for the public works manager for 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do we have to list all these people on here?
Evan?
They work for Mark, they don't work for us. Well, they do work for us, but they work for Mark.
I think it's good practice to do this. I think the auditors like to see this. I will tell you, I have some municipalities that they put it in the budget and they approve the budget. And, you know, those 3% raises are in the budget and they're just approved as part of the budget. I think it's, like I said, I think for auditing purposes, I think it's a good practice to specifically approve these pay raises. I'm not sure there's anything that legally requires you to do so.
Yeah, Sager Swisher always requested anything that we did around, even if it was in the budget, we had to, they wanted to see the resolutions and everything. Alright. Next, we have Resolution 2023-34, to confirm the police officer's percentage to be contributed to the police pension fund at 5%. Would anyone like to make that motion?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Stahl, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt, or, I'm sorry, Fisher. I even wrote it here, Fisher, Price. Fisher, Price, whatever. I have a motion by Councilperson Stahl and a second by Councilperson Fisher to adopt Resolution 2023-34, confirming the police officer's percentage to be contributed to the police pension fund at 5%. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? This is another one of those audit things that we have to do. Seeing none, I have a motion by Councilperson Stahl, second by Councilperson Fisher, to adopt Resolution 2023-34. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, we have the public meeting schedule for 2024. We have a motion to authorize staff to advertise the public meeting schedule, public meeting dates for 2024.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman and a second by Councilperson Stahl to authorize staff to advertise the Borough of Columbia public meeting schedule for 2024. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this?
And I just want to say, if you're looking at last year's legal notice, there are two boards that we removed from the advertising requirements. One was the, and Mary, from the River Park Advisory Committee, because that's not officially a board of Borough Council. It's a citizen advisory group. So we felt like there's no need for us to legally advertise those. The other one that was removed is the land bank, because that's advertised through the county. The county is a county committee, so they advertise that one, so that's not one that we need to have on there. And therefore, we're not responsible for any changes in the advertising and changes in meetings. So we've taken those two off from last year's list, and the rest are what we normally have.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Okay.
Yes, Mary?
Based on Mark's comment about River Park, will that still be listed on the borough calendar?
Yeah, if you want it on there, we can put it on there.
I think that
Yeah,
way,
put it on there.
if anybody wants to attend, you know, they know it's happening. So, there might be some follow-up in that next month.
Yeah, the more we can put on the calendar on the website, the better off we are. I mean, I'd like to see more organizations give us their things so we can put it on there for them.
Okay, thank you for clarification.
One question, I thought we had talked about not putting the budget meeting for July on here. I thought we started them in September.
Yeah, we left it on there just in case.
Just in case?
Yeah.
Just in case something happens and we
Just in
wanna.
case we need to get started, it's an existing meeting we have, Tammy and I talked about it, we just left it there. Either cancel them and add them.
Yep. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns on the meeting schedule? Alright, I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, a second by Councilperson Stahl, to authorize staff to advertise the Borough of Columbia public meeting schedule for 2024. All in favor? Anyone opposed? And something I talked to Mark about after we get this advertised, after the first of the year, when we know who all of the board members are and everything, we're going to send out via email calendar invites for all of that boards to all of the members, so it goes onto their calendar. This day and age, we all use our calendar apps to keep ourselves straight. That way it's there and no one has to say, oh, I forgot, whatever. We're gonna send it out for all, not just council, but for all boards. I think that's
really nice, Council President, because I don't have to sit and type all that in.
Exactly. All you have to do is click that accept and your calendar's updated.
Thank you very much.
That being said, I must confess here that I did ask Teresa to put together the one-page calendar with all the boards color-coded in the little cells. It's a lot of work for her to put it all together, but it's a nice, easy, quick view of what's coming up and what's when. So you'll get that as well if you have a copy of that for the whole year.
Yep.
Trying to go electronic, but I guess I'm getting old. I still like calendars.
I use them both.
Yep.
All right. And next, do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-35, setting the borough fee schedule for fiscal year 2024?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to adopt resolution 2023-35, setting the borough fee schedule for fiscal year 2024. Any questions, comments, or concerns? We just looked at this last week.
I have some.
Yes.
After this weekend, talking with Megan from Shank Shops, when we talked about this, I didn't realize how it would affect someone like that coming into the borough. Not only just her, but it affects bringing people to town to shop, to eat, whatever. If the current prices the way they are, she can't afford to have those shows. So she would have to pull shows because of the amounts of what this is costing. After talking with her, she said that it is the 3 and 4 times what other places charge for these services. She wants to talk.
Hi, I'm Megan Shank. Sorry, my list reference on my phone. Thank you for inviting me to the meeting to talk.
My name is Megan Shank. I'm the Shake Shop. I don't know who you guys that are here tonight. It's nice to see you. I was honestly very, very, very taken back and surprised when I received this fee schedule in the mail. My business is not Columbia-based. My business is also for-profit. I've worked alongside the borough here on all of my events in the last 2 years total, including Chris as well. With the exception of the rental fee for the market house, which I pay, there has been no fee associated with the support of the borough. There's been no administration fees, there's been no application fees, there's been no police fees, there hasn't been anything. So what is now proposed is over 2,000% of an increase, because if I look at my entire list of fee schedules, just the application fee alone, which was previously $0, is now $250. I am requested by the chief to have police presence at all of my shows. It warrants it. But if it's being requested by the borough, why is that fee being pushed on to me at quite a significant rate? The rate for just police officers, for one single police officer per show, would be $73 an hour, and I have 2 per show. Minimum, I have them for 8 hours. That doesn't include having the emergency vehicle van parked at all of my shows, and I don't know how many police officers or team members are staffed in that vehicle for the duration of the day. That's a significant fee. So I would be looking at $584 per police officer for a day, when I am required to have the police presence at all of my events. I do 3 of them here in Columbia. I have 2 police officers typically by the hour. Another fee that I'm also looking at is I'm also in the fee schedule, I have a public works employee. Chris is with me shoulder to shoulder for all of my events. That includes my prep work prior to the events. That includes us communicating virtually. That includes me bringing things into the market house. That includes setup the day before. That includes the market itself. I'm already paying a rental fee to be using the market house. However, this would require me to pay $59 an hour for Chris. When I brought back the bus this, okay, so then who's the public works?
Maybe Jake's crew, bring in road signs, barricades, etc.
So Jake, hello, it's nice to see you. He brings in barricades for me. How am I going to be able to tabulate that time that it's going to take him to bring those barricades? And why is there now a fee associated with it if there isn't? There wasn't one before. So that piece I have a question of. I'm assuming also the public works employee would apply to the Riverfront Park employees. Would that apply there as well? Okay, so I have that miscalculated. I also have a trash dumping fee of $100 when I remove all of my own trash, with the exception of renting the market house, but my trash fee is inclusive with the rental that I'm paying already, so I don't know why the $100 fee would be there.
The trash fee is only there if you don't take.
Right, if you don't take that.
It's not specified in what was mailed to me, so that's part of the confusion as well. In addition to that, there are a few things that are in the memo that I received that I find very concerning and I question. One of them is that when I am closing any streets down for any intersecting street, it states that I would have to have a person manning that intersection. If we have them blocked off appropriately, why do we also have to have a person manning them as well? 80% of all of my volunteers are high school students. We provide over 1,000 service hours between Fairfield High School, Columbia High School, Manheim Central, Lebanon Valley College, Millersville University. All of them are students, so I can't have them manning an intersection without an adult with them, which would defeat the purpose of me having the volunteers to even do other items. So that's going to force me to pay someone to stand there because I don't have this resource of adult volunteers. So I'm going to then also have an hourly fee. If I base that at $10 an hour, for Christmas in July, we blocked 6 points of intersection. That's 6 people, $10 an hour for at minimum 8 hours. Versus that's a fee that I didn't have before because the horses that are set up and signage creates the blockade as it should. So I'm just curious where these fees, how these fees were determined, how were they decided upon, because this is not going to allow me to operate my business here in Columbia for all 3 events, not just one event. I do 3, and they're my 3 largest events for my company. The other piece that I have a question on that was included in what was mailed to me, although there's not a fee associated with it, it does negatively financially affect my business, is that in the paperwork that I received, it's stating that every maker, anyone, would be required to show a business tax ID to participate, and they would also be required to show a Pennsylvania state sales permit. No other borough requires proof of this that I participated in. No one in Lancaster County. If there is one, please correct me, but there isn't any. I have a pool at this point of almost 800 vendors locally. Those are all handmade vendors. A huge chunk of them are from here in Columbia. Over 80 to 85% of my entire list of vendor pools do not make enough income to require a business tax ID, and they do not have a Pennsylvania sales permit. All of my contracts that I have my vendors sign show that that is their responsibility. It is not my responsibility as a business. So when I am now being forced to enforce that rule, that's taking away 80 to 85% of my vendor pool to be able to put on the markets. In addition to that, with the vendors, it also states in this communication that my vendor list has to be determined and submitted 45 days prior to the event date. I have wait lists, sometimes from 40 to 80 people long. I have vendors that change the week of a show. Chris can confirm this with Twitch. You have people that say, hey, I have a cancellation and it's a plug and play. Those plug and plays, sometimes it's a switch of 20 people. You know, when we were doing our emergency action plan, I had to continuously submit, hey, here's my new list. Hey, here's a new list. I can submit this to you right before the event. Because it changes, it happens. That's why I have waiting lists. This would not allow me to have waiting lists anymore. And those people are going to automatically go to another business. That's negatively affecting my small business. Not only is that negatively affecting my small business, but it's also negatively affecting the town. So you have to think of the events that I have now brought into Columbia, and I don't say that in a obnoxious or full of myself way. I truly have. I've brought thousands of people into Columbia. It's not just Columbia residents that are attending these markets. But the amount of people that are coming in, you have to look at the total revenue. We have to look at the local stores, the restaurants, the antique shops, Kindred Collection, the gas stations. All of these businesses that are Columbia-based businesses are benefiting from this surge of people coming in. It's also supporting the small businesses. It's supporting the small businesses existing in the market because they're invited to be a part of my markets when I hold them in the market house. It allows them to have an additional day of business when the market house is typically open only 4 days a month, sometimes 5. So all of those makers and all of those small businesses are allowed to then benefit and profit because they're invited to be a part of it. I would love to be able to see numbers, like I do get numbers from other boroughs and from other councils where I'm able to see the traffic cams. I don't see them, but I'm able to see numbers. I'm able to see how many people are coming into an event on that specific day. I would also love to see meter numbers, how much revenue just from the meters alone. We can't count this month. We can't count Christmas, or we can't count Mary Market. But if we're looking at Christmas in July and we're looking at the bust, I would love to see the profit that we are now gaining as a community just from the meters. And then the tickets when they stage them. Because there is revenue there. And it would be naive to say that there isn't. There is revenue there when our gas stations are being used because people need to fill up. It would be naive to see that all of the small businesses like Riddles across the street. I could survey and go down all of Locust Street, and I can tell you with my full confidence that I have the backing of every business on this street because I provide them business. They even take their photos with me, which is very nice and polite and lovely, but they don't have to do that. They don't owe me anything. The last piece that I want to talk about with this is I cannot stress enough that I cannot hold these markets here in Columbia with this fee schedule. I do not diminish the fact or the work that goes into from the borough that there can be fees associated with what we do together. I don't diminish that. I appreciate and support the work that we do. We meet on a regular basis, we meet monthly. We talk a lot, we do a lot together. That time is money, but it's not this much money. Just each event alone, I'm looking at over $2,500 when I calculate all of the fees. Give or take some numbers because I'm misquoted on the Public Works numbers. It's a lot of money. I am a small business. If you don't know who I am, I live in Marietta, right on the other side of the hill. My husband, John, and I'm not originally from this area, but I'm happily here. His in-laws are here in Columbia, which is why we picked Columbia. I'm a stay-at-home mom out of necessity. If you don't know, my family has 2 special needs children. I stay at home because I have to. I was in the corporate world for a very long time. I love the corporate world. I love what I did. But my children's medical needs and now special needs require me to stay home, and my business allows me to do that. Not operating my 3 largest markets of the year is going to have to make me rethink things that when I received this in the mail, I quite literally was just in tears in my kitchen because we meet on a regular basis and no one said a word. One question I have for you guys is what other non-local for-profit businesses bring events into Columbia other than my own?
I mean, I'll say the change in the fee schedule is not new. This wasn't added this year to it. It was put in last year. So I don't know why this is coming across now as a new fee for you. That we put that in last time.
I've never had any fees associated with any of
I hear you, but
them.
I'm just letting everyone know that this wasn't an add-in tonight or for tonight's agenda item. This was previously put in.
Right, and I believe the discussion came up, it was right when we were approving some of her facilities use requests.
I listened to what you said, and the chief may want to comment on this. I seen some things that really weren't correct.
Such as?
About manning, the intersections. Okay?
Okay. I have it here if you want me to read what.
No, I'll say it's more in understanding what it's saying. Maybe we need to clarify a little bit.
Okay.
For lack of time tonight, I would suggest that a couple folks from the borough, Mark, you and the chief, maybe some other, get together and sit down and go over what you just talked about.
Sure.
And see what understanding we can have on how that has to be done.
Okay.
Or if there is, as you described, some serious inequities that possibly they can come back to council to take another look at.
Sure.
I think what you do is great for the community. You framed it very well. Your business is driving business to other businesses in the community. But when I heard you going down through, I think there's some things that I can say I can cut your costs.
Okay. I would love
With
to
some
have that.
understanding. Am I correct, Chief?
I would agree. For example, the manning the intersection would pertain more to events such as parades, those things that impact traffic, just shutting down an area as was
Right, like
done
we did
year
for
round.
Christmas and
Right, right. We're not looking for an individual to man a barricade in those cases.
So what are you looking for?
Right. Why don't we have a discussion at a later time? I agree with the mayor. I think it would be best outside of this meeting to schedule a meeting.
I'll just say, I know that some of this seems harsh, and I'll just be blunt. We are making these changes, and Chief and I, we've talked about this almost 3 or 4 years now about making these changes, and the reason we're doing this, Megan, is not to drive business out, it's to improve safety and security during special events.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we live in a world now where we have people with malintent coming in and doing horrible things, doing groups of large people.
Mm-hmm.
So all the training that Chief and I and others have been through in terms of emergency management tells us that we have to staff up and look at protecting our people.
And you know, through what we've worked with, I completely agree with that.
Right.
the
So,
devil's advocate to that is that you
Right, let me-
guys are requiring me to use.
Correct,
police staff.
let me finish though. We do require to have police here, that's because it's our job. We are tasked with protecting citizens and people who are inside our boundaries. That's our job, whether it's your event or anyone's event. That's our job. So,
I
so hold
agree
on,
with that.
let me, can I finish please? So, yes, we do require to have an extra officer or two out there. It's not against you. That's anyone who's out there. We do that for parades. We do that for everything. It's a matter of public safety. So we are looking at trying to ensure that events go off as smoothly as possible. Secondly, and this is something that we talked about early on, is that, and you said it, you are a for-profit business.
Yes.
So a for-profit business that requires services of the borough outside of our normal operations should help compensate that somehow. So I know you said you would look at that, and we'll look at the numbers again. And again, these aren't new tonight. They've been in place almost a year now. We have to treat everyone fairly, and so the businesses that are here, brick and mortar places that are paying property tax here, they're covering some of those costs already through their property taxes. And a special event coming into town is requiring additional services that the citizens have to pay for. So when Jake's crew is here on overtime, that's the citizens paying for you to make a profit at an event. So we're trying to balance that out so that, yes, the community benefits, but I don't think that all the citizens should pay for you to make money. And that sounds harsh, but we're trying to balance that out. So that's the reason we put these in place.
I don't disagree with anything of what you're saying, and I do agree wholeheartedly in regards to the security standpoint. We've had this conversation many times, but if it's something that you guys are going to require of me and not allow me to bring my own security team in, then why should that fee be placed onto me when I'm offering an alternative?
Because it's our job as the Borough of Columbia to ensure the public safety of the people here. So if our chief of police determines that he needs extra people here, he brings them in for that. And again, that's not a shank shop thing. It's just, we do it for our parades. The car show, we have extra officers here. Those are events that we do the same thing. We bring extra people in for the purpose of public safety. The emergency operations trailer, we don't charge for. That's something that we do.
So I think, and not to interject, I think my biggest concern with that is how far of a difference it is between nonprofit, for-profit, local versus non-local, for-profit. It is such a wide difference that doesn't allow me to operate, especially going from zero to those fees. The last point that I want to interject there is I understand that to you these fees are not new and that they were proposed, I think, in April in the springtime is what's referenced here. But no one, other than me getting this in the mail, no one's talked about this. No one said, hey, these fees are coming. No one said, hey, these fees are what you would have doing this event with us. We are waiving them because you filled out your form before we decided upon them, but this is what's going to happen for 2024. There was no conversation, there was no anything, and no fees were enforced for all of this year. And I'm just curious why, if we're going to say, okay, these fees are in place and these aren't new, I just got a random letter. Like it's very strange when I have such open communication with everyone. And why was nothing enforced?
That I don't know, but we'll, like I said, let's get together and talk. I think it's fair to have this conversation. We can reevaluate.
I just have to strongly say that this is such an increase. I cannot have my events here with these increases. Like, I can't.
And I asked who sent the letter? The borough?
That came from Pam. I believe it came from Pam. That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of the letter.
I believe it is from Pam, but it just states it's from the borough.
And I would like to know, like Mark was saying about the discussions we had and so forth back in the spring when we were going through this. For the last year, we have actually been tracking the amount of money that events cost us in terms of the extra manpower and those kinds of things. So the fees were developed as, you know, to cover our costs. Because like Mark said, you know, we should not be expecting the citizens' taxes to be supporting a business to come into the borough to make money. And so that's what, I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but
It doesn't.
that's why, you know, we came up with it. Because we found we were having significant costs associated with events that were not being recovered, and our citizens were telling us that, you know, why are we not charging people to cover our costs? Our nonprofits, of course, we cover those costs because that's a service to our community, but for-profit businesses.
So is there a, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. Was there any sort of comparison done to other boroughs and what they charge, or any other type of consideration within Lancaster County to make sure that things are being charged or scaled to be charged at an appropriate rate?
I do believe that Pam did some research. Unfortunately, she's not here, and I don't have that information in front of me. But I know we did look at it. And there was a lot of thought put into this, consultation with council, discussions in council meetings. So it wasn't taken lightly, I assure you. You know, we do appreciate the events here.
You know that. This feels like that you guys are asking me. That's what this feels like. Because to my knowledge, there's no other small business that is not Columbia based that puts any events on in Columbia at all. Are there any? Honestly, I don't mean that rudely, I mean that truthfully. Are there any other businesses that put on any events to this?
I think there are, but, again, this is put in place to cover everybody. And you're taking it personal, I don't blame you because it came to you, but this is to protect all of us, that's not just a.
I'm not denying that. I'm
Right.
asking.
But I'm answering your question, Megan. I'm
Megan.
trying to answer your question. This was set up not for you, this was set up for anyone who comes in, and our goal is to attract more events over time. We're putting together the River Park to be an event space so that we can attract more. So this was all put in place so that we can look forward and bring businesses in to do these kind of things, because it does bring people into town, it does help.
It does, which is what I'm trying to do, but what I'm trying to voice is that these numbers are not going to do that.
I understand that, you said that, and I'm trying to tell you why we put them in place, but like we said now, instead of just, I feel like we're going in
Right.
loops now.
Yeah.
Let's get together and talk through this rather than going back and forth here, because I'm not sure this gets productive this way.
That's fine, I agree.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns on the fee schedule?
Well, on that note, if you guys do approve it tonight, if you feel like a change is needed, we'll come back with a new resolution to modify it.
All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl to adopt resolution 2023-35, setting the borough fee schedule for fiscal year 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Oh, do we have a check?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Next, could I have a motion to approve the bill payments? Second. I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price to authorize the bill payments. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Tammy always sends them to me before they go in the packet, and I didn't see, nothing stuck out to me that wasn't already noted on there.
This on, the zoning hearing fee on page 7. Is that didn't you say that was 50% the person who requests the hearing and 50% the borough to legally advertise? So is this our half, or is this the whole thing?
It may be the whole thing, I'll have to double check and look into that.
Because they were the ones that canceled it, right? Was my understanding.
Yes.
Yeah, that pays for the whole thing, and then
I think we billed them.
we'll have a bill, we'll send them a bill that goes out in the accounts, in the AR, and then It will get reimbursed.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the bill payments. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. New business. Consider authorizing staff to contract with Boyer and Ritter for auditing services for the borough for a 5-year term. I will note, after our last discussion, we did receive 3 answers to our RFP, which we were very surprised, because we were not getting any bites on the RFP for auditors. Tammy could not be here this evening, but she has talked to all 3 to, just kind of feel them out, and see. Her choice would be Boyer and Ritter. So do we have any questions, comments? We don't necessarily have to vote this evening if we don't want to. If there's questions, to ask Tammy, we can we can vote on it on the 28th, but I wanted to gather questions this evening if there were any.
Are any of them represented here tonight?
No.
Will they be at all before we would vote?
We did not request them to come in, no.
Doesn't the borough, or I should say, doesn't council at the reorganization meeting appoint solicitor, auditor, engineer, firm, the likewise? I mean, this seems a little out of place.
Well, just because Sager Swisher, we wanted to get proposals in so we can look at them. We can do it through the organization meeting.
But we have to sign the contract.
Yeah, the contracts and everything done so that we can appoint them, that's all.
Yeah.
And so everyone's clear, I mean, Sager Swisher sent us a letter a while ago saying they're no longer doing audits. We went out and we're not alone. There were several other municipalities that they covered that were all looking. As of the last I heard, some of them still have not gotten someone to cover them yet. The ones that we got responses to were also firms that were recommended by the Boroughs Association. They have a list of firms that do municipal audits. I will say that list is getting smaller and smaller. A lot of firms are no longer doing public sector audits, so the number of choices becomes less and less.
I know you're between a rock and a hard place on this, but my only concern was you want to sign tonight. You want to okay a 5-year contract. Okay.
With termination clause in it, if it doesn't work out. Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, devil's advocate. The organizational meeting, you vote not to. You're on the hook for 5 years. What's the legality of that? I'm trying to protect.
Yeah, you are correct about that. That if they, if 2 years, let's say they appointed them at this reorg meeting, and then 2 years from now in 2026, the council said, we don't want to do this anymore, and there wasn't any, cause, or the termination clause wasn't followed, then you would be technically on the hook for those additional 3 years if you did a 5-year contract. But again, that's why I'm assuming there would be a termination clause in that agreement so that you could.
So basically what you're doing, if you sign this, if you do this tonight, you're guaranteeing them that you're going to vote for them in the reorganization meeting next month. Which I don't have a problem with, but I wanted everybody to understand there's a little bit of it's kind of a little weird.
We did that with Sager Swisher too. We had a 5-year contract with them as well.
Yeah, but
all 3 of them, everyone that we've gotten RFPs from is a multi-year contract. I mean,
I don't deny that, but what I'm saying is, what's the difference whether you sign it you do it tomorrow morning or January 2nd?
Really, there isn't. No.
There isn't.
We just want to let you guys know.
Well, to me, there's more feeling of comfort to do it January 2nd than tomorrow morning.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Does everyone feel more comfortable That's why I said, we don't have to move
Now,
on
if,
it.
if that firm says, no, we want it as soon as possible, and with the demand on auditors right now, I don't understand that. I just wanted you all to think through this.
Yeah, there is high demand. We had several turn us down because they said that they just don't have the bandwidth now with all the influx they got. Is there a chance that this firm in January will say at that point, no? I don't know. We didn't have that discussion with them.
I know that.
I'm looking to make it clean.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. Several of them, that turned us down, their reason was they can't make the end of March, the March 31st deadline to get the audit completed.
Yeah.
And they don't want to start off on the wrong foot by, not having our stuff in on time. That's why we're seeing Camp Hill, Delaware, Carlisle. I mean, there's no one local.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw the one from Delaware. I was like, Delaware? What the heck? I know, right?
Was the last contract 5 years?
Yes.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I think we will. Yes, Frank.
Where does this firm rank as fees?
Actually, this is the lowest.
They were actually the lowest. Not that that was the only criteria we looked at, but that was one of the factors, and they were the most cost effective of all of them.
And how do they compare to Sager and Swisher?
They're more.
How much more?
About $5,000 more.
$5,000 more.
Which is actually less than what Tammy and I were expecting. We were pleasantly surprised because we were expecting, because we had talked to Alyssa from Sager Swisher, and she told us to expect close to 50,000. So we were pleasantly surprised by I know. Well, the one was
The one business.
the one was like 40,000.
$100 a month for speaker.
Yeah.
Let's start our own shingle. We'll start the shingle out of next one.
Yeah, I know, right? So, are there any questions or concerns that I can get answered for a future meeting?
I would like to see the three firms and the details or criteria that Tammy used to make her determination. Well, I agree with Tammy, and I probably will anyway. I think as council, we should see the three of them.
You have all three in your packet.
You have all three in
They're all right
there.
there.
Yeah,
That's
all
why we
three.
put all in there, so you guys can.
Yeah, all three proposals are in there. And honestly, if you wanted them to come in, I can almost guarantee that all three would pull out. They're not going to come in, because actually all three of them are requesting everything like electronic and stuff now. So, I mean, they're not going to come in.
One of the things I like about the one that is up for the vote here is just the size, and it's not just dependent upon one or two people that can back themselves up and come through for us. So
I know
there's a long list of people that or municipalities and other organizations that they're doing this for. So not that any of the others aren't qualified, but I agree that this is a good choice.
Anyone else? Do we want to hold off on voting on this?
I think I would like to hear what Tammy has to say.
Okay. All right. We will move that then to the 28th for consideration, because Tammy will be here that evening. And then next we have,
Excuse me,
yes.
I've been scared about this audit change, you know, and I know the demand on auditors. Do you know, are they gonna be okay with waiting till the 28th?
We gave them no expectation that we would make this decision tonight.
In other words, I would hate to, so I open my big mouth, I would hate to do this and then they say, we signed with another municipality, we can't handle it.
We didn't, like I said, we didn't tell any of them that we would definitely take action tonight. Dan and I discussed it, we wanted to get it in front of you tonight, just so you have more time to think. If you want to take action tonight, fine.
Yeah, I would hate not to do something and lose it.
Right, yeah, I don't believe that's the case.
No, and I think when Tammy was, talking to them, you know, her and I had talked about it before, and I said, you know, I wouldn't expect a decision before the 28th. I mean, it was one of those, if we had a decision tonight, great. If not, there was no expectation that it would be tonight. We were just thrilled to have 3 auditors respond.
I'd be happy to vote for it tonight if that's, I mean, I'm not opposed to moving forward on it. I'll take her word for it and sending a recommendation to the table tonight.
Yeah, I think Barb wanted to wait because she wants to hear from Tammy, so.
Understood.
But, yep, all right. And finally, we have resolution 2023-36, authorizing staff to request a statewide local share assessment grant of $1 million from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used for construction of the new Public Works facility. This is the resolution authorizing it to go in. It's a non-matching grant. This is the money from the gambling funds. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? Yes, Frank?
Did you just say it's not matching?
Yes.
Yeah.
So where else are we looking for money?
From the sale of some of the properties. So the Blue Lane property, the wastewater plant, the fire station on Front Street, all those we've looked at selling, liquidating, so that we can have the money to make the improvements out of Ridge Avenue.
They seem to be so stretched out that they're never gonna happen.
And they're coming. I know it takes a while. We had to, like Blue Lane, we had to create the lot in order to be able to sell it. That just got recorded, and deeds got recorded a few weeks ago, so that's the delay there.
What was the price of Blue Lane?
We haven't sold it yet.
What's it?
That's about the bid.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. The firehouse on Front Street, when's that supposed to sell?
We're talking with the Economic Development Company of Columbia now to get that. It's in process now, negotiating with them.
And the sewer plant, the highway area, highway sheds, my understanding is a 29-year lease on that, is what I heard in the meeting. Where are we at with that?
We put a long lease on it, Frank, so that we could advertise this openly, so that it wasn't selling to only one company. Anyone could put a bid in, an offer on it. But if they did, it would come with that lease. That's why we did it. So it would allow them to at least maintain the space there no matter who owned it. We did something similar with KT Graham. We gave them there was a 5-year lease with the ability to extend it to, if the company's moving in to lease a property like that and they're going to invest money into improving it, they want to protect their investment. That's all. That's the only reason we did that. So the moment that it sells, that lease would go away.
Okay, so these people that's there now at the sewer plant and versus the highway, they can go in there and do all kinds of improvements, and that could be sold from out the other.
No.
It could be sold, but they would still have the ability to function there.
Yeah.
They would just be a tenant for someone else to own the property.
Unless somebody else wanted to move in the property.
No, because they have this lease in place. That's what I'm saying. That the lease
Wow.
protects them.
So the delay in that one, unfortunately, is kind of a unique situation. We realized that the private crossing that we have with Norfolk Southern had to be extended to JV Environmental.
And it had to be extended, period.
Period.
It didn't cover the whole distance that it takes to cross the railroad tracks. So we are working with Norfolk Southern at the moment to try to get that taken care of. So it's something that I don't think it's going to be a problem, because people have used that. Obviously, whoever's owned that property all the way back to, I believe, the Columbia Lace Company, which is back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, had a crossing across those railroad tracks. And Norfolk Southern hasn't been bad to deal with. Norfolk Southern, everything takes a long time. So we're working with them to try to get that taken care of and get that memorialized, but that's really what the holdup has been down there. So
It just seems so far-fetched to me, like it's not materializing.
it's coming. It's commercial real estate is a different animal all itself, and these things take a long time sometimes. Yeah.
And in the long discussion we had at the last meeting we had here, I just feel that we're in the deep, you know what, financially. I mean, just getting these places paid for and then repairing them, getting them fixed, the $1 million here, that's nothing. That'll go so fast for at least what I see. Of course, I'm not always right on everything.
Alright. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns on this resolution? Do we want to adopt this resolution this evening?
I'll make a motion.
Alright, so I have a motion by Councilperson Stahl and a second by Councilperson Lintner to adopt resolution 2023-36, authorizing staff to request a statewide local share assessment grant of $1 million from the Commonwealth Financing Agency to be used for construction of a new public works facility. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Alright. Staff reports, comments, and announcements.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I have a comment on an agenda item. Can I do that?
Which item?
Item 6.
Yeah, you're going backwards. 6. We generally request the comments when we're at that section.
I just wanted to make a comment on the behavior I saw here tonight.
Alright, well,
I'm going to comment on it.
Okay, I thought,
I will take
you can shut me up if you want, but I thought the behavior was reprehensible by the mayor, unprofessional, over the line. You broke the law twice, not you particularly, but this Columbia Borough broke the law. You violated the Sunshine Act. You broke the law. And instead of taking responsibility, the mayor resorts to his typical bullying behavior and lashes out. That's my comment. Thank you.
Staff reports, comments, and announcements. Solicitor Gable.
Just wanted to address the budget. I apologize for not being on the agenda tonight. Given that it has to be advertised for at least 10 days, we had about 2 hours on Wednesday morning after your last meeting, your last voting meeting, to get that in. I unfortunately had a meeting that I got called out of the office for first thing Wednesday morning that I didn't know I was going to have. And so I was not able to get back to the office by 10 o'clock, the advertising deadline. So we wanted to make sure that everybody had enough chance to get that reviewed and had a chance to look at that budget. So that's why it's not on the agenda tonight. So I take responsibility for that. I apologize. I know we said at the last meeting that that it would be on this agenda this evening. But other than that, I think probably the biggest thing I've been working on the last couple of weeks is working with Norfolk Southern to try to get that railroad crossing done and get the title work completed so that we can get that sold. So that should hopefully be coming down the pipe here relatively soon. So we'll keep working at it.
Alright, Borough Engineer, we haven't heard from Derek all night.
Did I just say no comment? No, things will, yeah, I can't. No, I will keep it brief. Things do remain very, very busy. My plate is very full right now, thank you, folks. Probably the two main objectives right now are the McGuinness Airport and pushing that E&S submission forward with ELA, your consultant. And I've also been working very closely with Mark and Jake on Ridge Avenue property and getting that subdivision done, ensuring that we acquire the rights of access. And then of course we wrapped up the 2nd Street project, and we've already begun design on Union Street, the next scene feature, along with a couple other projects that have been hanging around for a while. So
2nd Street looks awesome.
thank you. I'm very, very pleased with how it turned out. I hope everyone else is happy. Thanks.
All right. Secretary Treasurer, Mr. Stivers.
Thank you. I attended a meeting today down in southern New York County, and it was the 2nd in a row now of a summit they hold to look at the benefits of outdoor recreation in communities. And it's encouraging to be in a room with people that are really putting time and energy now into seeing the value of attracting people to your community that are involved in outdoor recreation activities. Lancaster County and York County are working together to do a lot of promotion of these types of activities. If you traveled a bit, you realize the blessing we have here of the number of parks, the trails, the rail trails that we have, the river. There's a whole team now looking at the Conestoga River and developing both a kayak trail and a walking trail, the whole length of the Conestoga now. This brings a lot of people into the area. Discover Lancaster was there, the Conservancy was part of it. The Lancaster EDC was a keynote speaker talking about the economic development benefit of this. Lancaster County set a record for tourism this year. Been one of the highest levels of tourism coming into the area. Recreation tourism was a big part of that. People love to come here and get outside and visit our parks and go do things outside. There are billions of dollars coming into the county each year because people are coming in. There are hundreds of thousands of people that are not from this area that are coming into the area to see that. And it's a good feeling when you're in these meetings, and it's a county-wide meeting, and Columbia is front and center of being discussed and talked about, and the benefits. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been working towards these goals for many years. This is not a new thing. This is not a, hey, last year we suddenly improved our river park and now it attracts people. It's been, I'll look at Mary, 22 years of effort to take something that has always been here and truly make it into a treasure for this community. The Northwest Lancaster County River Trail. The effort to connect that trail to the Enola low-grade line keeps coming up. The efforts in York County to develop a very, very successful trail towns effort where businesses along trails are marketing that they are trail friendly, so that if you're on the trail, you can go there and there's a little sign on the door, and they have water bowls for pets, and they don't care if you come in and you're a little sweaty and dirty, and they say that's great, we welcome you in because we want you part of our community and we want you here. So it was a very encouraging meeting, and it's neat to see this region working together. And one of the comments that came up during our meeting today was, what's future focus should be. And one of the strongest comments that came out from many people there was getting young people interested in conservation efforts, getting young people interested in even careers in conservation, getting them to see that there are good jobs out there that are related to outdoor recreation, related to outdoor business. And when that was being discussed, the guy who was speaking there was interesting, because he says, think about the companies that manufacture outdoor equipment. Think about the people that are involved in outdoor recreation, the trail guides, the people who rent kayaks and canoes and bikes and those type of businesses. The benefits to the advertising community, because now people are putting ads out and they're talking about it and they're promoting it. So the impact of that one sector crosses the line into so many different areas and so many different aspects of economic development. So I just want to say thank you to this community for taking the effort to get us where we are, and I look forward to see where we're going in the next years to come, because the momentum seems to me to be picking up. The energy and excitement here seems to be picking up. Talked about the Underground Railroad, we talked about Native American and honoring the first citizens, if you will, that were settled here. They talked about ag tourism and how that brings people in. So, very encouraging meeting, and I look forward to seeing all that comes forward for this region and specifically for Columbia Grove.
Board committees, the hard meeting for tomorrow evening has been canceled. Parks and Rec meets on Thursday the 14th. And Planning Commission is next Tuesday, 12/19.
Heather, I'm sorry, it's not on that, but there is a CAT meeting tomorrow.
Oh, and there is CCAT tomorrow. What time is that? 5:30?
5:30.
There is CCAT at 5:30 here in, it's still here, right?
Yes.
Okay,
For now.
Here. Yeah, we need to make sure we get those on the borough calendar as well.
And since I will not be here for January, I don't know how going forward. If our meeting is canceled, who will be here to open up for the meeting?
For CCAT?
Yeah. If our, generally we rely on our committees.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Just need that.
But yeah, then if it's on the borough calendar, hopefully it'll make it on the thing, so I can. Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you though. Borough Council comments, we'll start over here with Councilperson Fisher.
Nothing for me.
Two things tonight, both the meetings. The hard meeting being canceled. For hard planning, zoning, sorry, I couldn't do that. Those three there especially, but our committees are scheduled to have meetings. Our committees also play a big part in our policies that we do. A lot of stuff was put on hold waiting for the 2040 comp plan. I don't know the council can regulate these meetings, but I would like to see, even if agendas are empty or light, that either these policies get worked on, reviewed, or if policies are up to date and everybody's happy with them, then we do additional training. We've talked over, I know Sharon and I have talked over 2 years now, and Mark, about the Harbor District and education on that. And Mark found some paperwork, which is good. It's a good start. But that's the kind of stuff that can be worked on these light meetings. So I don't know if we could mandate that they can't be canceled, but we surely should just let them cancel because it's quote unquote light.
Or because there's no request for no hearing.
Well, technically, there's still no hearing yet.
Well, right.
Okay.
But I think that's why they cancel, because, they say, no one applied, so we don't have to have a meeting.
Right.
But we did talk about that before, about them not canceling. And I think this is at least maybe the fourth one that they canceled this year, if not the fifth. It's up there.
So, I don't know how we address that. I don't know if that comes down from Mark or comes from council. But I'd like that to be a change for next year.
I would agree.
Either it's a half hour consultant comes in and just talks about something for a half hour. It's education. And then the second topic on I know this is the president's place, but I would like to see a change in our meeting format next year, if possible, at least for you to consider.
Okay.
Or whoever's president. I would like to see us eliminate the 5-minute rule for the first 2 meetings of the month and have open floor discussions. So, if topics become involved, we can discuss it. We have 3 meetings a month, so the first 2 meetings, I personally would set a time frame from like 7 to 9, and then 9 o'clock the meetings can't end it, and it gets carried over to the next meeting. Run that from 7 to 9, and that meeting's at 9 o'clock that meeting's done, and everything else gets started on the third agenda. The third agenda, we just hash it out. But I have a problem with the 5-minute rule.
Okay.
Just because I think we want people to be here, but it doesn't sound inviting if you tell people you can come, but you can't talk. So, that's just my thoughts on that. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you. I have a statement I prepared and then some additional comments. So I don't like to read statements, but I'm gonna read this. In preparing for the end of my term, I want to address the issue of transparency and the Sunshine Act. Particularly, I'm addressing the statement made by Council President Zink at the end of the meeting last week. First, I want to thank Borough staff for taking steps to rectify the mistakes made by not posting the HARB and Planning Commission agendas within the legally required time frame. The Council President referred to the violations as oversights. While this may not have been intentional, these oversights failed to serve the people who elected us to represent them. My fight for transparency is personal. In 2016, along with Lancaster newspapers, I will take credit for improving transparency in Columbia Borough. Agendas were not available to the public until minutes before meetings began, which sharply limited public awareness and participation. Board packets were not available to the public, therefore limiting their ability to follow along during meetings and understand the topics at hand. As a newspaper correspondent, I requested a board packet and was charged an outrageous $32 fee. I didn't receive that packet until after the meeting. After that, several articles appeared in Lancaster newspapers, including one published on April 6, 2016, detailing Columbia Borough's lack of transparency. It was an opinion piece by the staff titled "Game Over." I will not stand by and tolerate any infraction of transparency by the local government that taxes me. No elected official should tolerate or downplay any circumstance involving a lack of transparency. The people are the government. Their money runs this borough, and they have every right to know what is going on. Now, there is so much wrong with what the mayor said tonight. So much. I don't even know where to begin. It is unbelievable that the mayor would not take responsibility, not you personally, but the borough take responsibility. He is turning this around and taking away your right as a taxpayer to complain to somebody about a violation. Sunshine laws are laws. They're not a joke that we sneak around behind someone's back and say, hey, you know, which I did go to Mark and tell him immediately when Joe alerted me that the agenda hadn't been posted for that HARB meeting. I came into your office at 5 o'clock or so and told him, because I was here for a CAP meeting. He said he thought it was on and he was going to check. I came back to the CAP meeting. Now, that's one part of this, but it just sounds like the mayor prefers that we just, I mean, both of those meetings shouldn't have been held, apparently, according to the Sunshine Law. They should have been canceled. And there's no twisting that law around. It exists for a reason. I feel like you're discouraging others going forward to report a violation. You're discouraging them by publicly humiliating me, calling for my resignation because of something my husband did. I mean, that is just unreal.
I didn't call for you.
Yes, you said if you would,
I said,
if I only had
would
one
and
meeting
did
left.
is two different words. Now, let me say this. I have to respond to this.
I'm not even finished.
I am not concerned about taking responsibility for that. What I am concerned with is good people, good, honest people on these boards and commissions. You just said it will discourage them.
No, I meant discourage the public from reporting these violations.
But good, honest people are on these boards and commissions, and they make mistakes. And they failed, so they failed. And you're talking about one instance, but I heard Joe say 2, maybe 3. I heard that.
Within a couple weeks.
All right,
Within a couple weeks.
I heard that, but no one said anything about that.
Nobody's sitting on top of this
They were
borough
on 2 or
watching.
3 times.
Heather
Someone was sitting on them.
Well, Heather has said herself, we trust the people we hire to do their job. Now,
If the stuff is not submitted, how would anybody working here know?
if the stuff is not submitted,
If the board and commission, the boards and commissions are responsible for doing that.
Their agenda.
well,
If they didn't submit it, how would an employee know? How would council know? They wouldn't know.
well, the
That's what I'm trying
meetings
to
are
say.
advertised, would they not check? The meetings are advertised to be held.
If there's no, how many meetings did you just tell me they didn't have for our?
It's right here on the front here. It's our whole yearly schedule.
Right.
If you don't get an agenda.
What I'm saying is you are downing council for mistakes that were made with boards and commissions by good, honest people.
I want to clarify something here.
Well, I didn't even get to finish it. I
know,
thought
but
it was
hold
my
on.
turn.
I need to clarify something here. There are 2 places that the agenda needs posted. One is outside this door, and one is online if there is a publicly accessible website. The agendas were posted online, or were posted at this door. They were not posted online, so it was not a complete disregard. But the staff did know that we had the agenda because they had to know that because it was posted on this door. I'm sorry, I just needed to clarify that.
Well, and the agenda for the HARP meeting certainly had to be available because you posted it within minutes after I alerted you that it wasn't on. Now,
That was,
still-
both of them were
no,
available
the other
because they
one,
were,
oh, yeah, but that was never posted, I don't think, after the fact.
right, and that was because we were looking at it and trying to determine if it's there or not there or whatever.
Okay. So, I want to just finish this so we can get on with this. I was elected to represent the people of this borough, the taxpayers. I am not taking any loyalty oath to anyone who is violating the law. So I want to make that clear. And when you say, oh, you're so glad I only have 1 meeting left, I serve the people of this borough very well. You didn't agree with what I said a lot of the time, but I am entitled to an opinion as an elected official or as a resident. And believe me, just because I'm not sitting up here, don't think that I'm not going to be watching.
That's fine.
And the only way I'll stop
All I'm saying
watching
is don't
is
make
when
an ass
I'm
out
not
of people
taxed.
for no reason.
What you do out of me, you do out of me publicly and privately ever since I stepped into this role.
You think people haven't done that in your blog?
Frank, I don't have a blog.
Point of order is not for someone in the public to call.
Madam Chairman, your civility and decorum just blew that right out the window.
I think there were both
You
equally.
gave Sharon the right to speak, and he had a mouth in. You didn't say a word. That's wrong.
I don't have a right to defend myself?
She had the floor. You didn't. She called on Sharon.
Okay, I'll just say that's enough then. Whatever.
other things.
Oh, come on.
No.
She said too much tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
I want to dovetail on that because I want people to understand what's at stake with the Sunshine Act. The act is very clear that I believe that the reports were made with the intent of, it doesn't matter what intent was there, but it's the people on the boards and anyone that comes to that meeting that will be fined, that will face reprimand. It is not the borough. It is the people that we have volunteering for us that would face the issue. They would be on the hook for any penalty, any intentional violations. So that's the operable word in the act is intentional. And like I said, none of these were intentional. No one intentionally sets out to make the mistake. Yes, it's unfortunate it was made, but like I said, it was posted on the door, which is the requirement. The addition of having it added to a publicly accessible website if one is available is a recent addition. Not saying that we were right for that, but that's just the way it is. But like I said, it's the people that are volunteering their time and serve this borough, on these boards that will suffer any penalties for these things. So, yes, certainly we have the obligation to make sure nothing happens, and we do that. But again, it is not an intentional act. It was not willful. Oh, hey, we're going to keep the public in the dark on this. We did post it on the door like we have to. It's not like we completely, disregarded everything. But that was what I wanted to say there. The next meeting will be at 7 p.m. on Thursday, December 28th. It will be a regular council meeting. Trying to keep it light. We got to pay the bills. We have to approve the agenda.
The budget.
Or the budget. We have to approve the budget.
We'll have the appointments for the board.
The appointments for the boards. But trying to keep it light since it is right after the holiday. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. Yes.
On behalf of the Clubby Area Ministerium, I'd like to invite all of you to attend the Walk of Christmas Smile Monday night, starting at 7 o'clock at Salem, Historic Salem United Church of Christ.
Thank you.
And this year, there's a new stop at the gazebo, weather permitting.
What street is that church on?
324 Walnut Street.
Oh.
Thank you.
Where do we end?
We're going to end at St. John's. That's where we. That's where the
Gazebo's
cookies
close
are.
by.
That's where the cookies are. Yeah, St. John's was.
Oh yeah, where's the cookies? All right. Could I have a motion to adjourn? I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Stahl, to adjourn the meeting at 8:59 p.m. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? We're adjourned. That's right, I got to see it. I got
He deserved it.
That's it. Oh, sorry. I want you to hold my. I know. No, we know.
And then tell them if someone wants to
Merry Christmas, Mary. Yeah, we know there and you're the only one. You got it. Got you. Hey, old Mary, yesterday at, Lancaster County Planning Commission, they were talking about where to have the awards for next year. The planning board, they were talking about, oh, this is like a venue, like, it's like you work house, it's a nice venue, and it's a company, the number was full. And several people were like, I didn't see that. So I think we're getting the county awards here.
It did that to me the other night, just in the middle of everything.
And you have, yours kind of really meets about outside.
Yeah,
What are you doing? You want to look? You're walking last?
One day, there was actually looking, they parked trains down there
Yeah.
before that one, and I was walking down, and I didn't know, and there was a van, and they stopped, and they're saying where Mace Mill Crossing was. I said,
They asked the one person in town.
I thought a second.
I was gonna say,
They said, we're approved for the train.